What's up, Epic 7? TristenWulf here, bringing you another Rift video. Today we're going to talk about RC8 and beyond. So when you get to RC8, you're going to notice that you have access to 3 new Rift controllers. Now, one of these Rift controllers got us excited, and that was when a Knight Hero is in the front row and attacks all enemies, increases damage dealt by 60%, and we thought it's Charlotte's time to shine. Unfortunately, it is not Charlotte's time to shine. We tried dozens of different configurations, running her fast, running her slow, putting her on rage set, putting her on destro set, tuning her in. We spent about 4 hours trying to make Charlotte better than our existing team, and we found that though she is very consistent and though she comes close, she always lagged 20 to 25% behind Mercedes on damage. So as crazy as it sounds for right now, just stick to the Grant's vampirism buff or device and make your Robin pretty much unkillable and keep using the exact same team. Now, when you get to RC15, you will be able to solo with Robin, and I'll show you how to do that once I get there. We're getting pretty close. But if you run Robin and Charlotte together, you will be able to solo well, not solo anymore, but 2-woman fight it even faster. It's more efficient with Charlotte. So Charlotte will eventually be good and useful in this. And of course, for those of you without Robin, of course, this team, being the same as the last team, still works fine with Araminta in place of Robin. Now, why am I bringing you the same team again? You're saying, well, I'm going to show you some tweaks and changes that we've made to it. I spent some time with Cookie in chat, and we experimented with some things back and forth. He came up with some really clever ideas, and we have refined this team to the next level. And I also wanted to discuss artifacts and alternatives, because when I made the last video, it was about 5 in the morning. I was kind of tired. Maybe I didn't explain things the best based on some comments in chat, people being panicked about needing 3 prophetic candlesticks. Nah, guys. You're good. You're good. Let me get into this team. Now, the nice thing about this team is if you configure it at the highest end, you're going to be doing 1-turn clears as early as RC9 and stable 1-turn clears probably by RC10. Now, of course, if your gear is lower, it may take a few more RC levels. And remember, every time your RC, your Rift controller level goes up, you get more damage. Overall, 8% more damage per RC level. So if you're not quite clearing at RC9, you might be clearing at RC10 or 11 and so on. So here is the team. First things first, the fastest unit on the team for a change is going to be Mercedes. I like her in the 190 to 195 speed range. Now, you can go above or below that a little bit. Turn order is important, though, so make sure you're speed tuned properly. Other than the 190 to 195 speed range, you want as much damage on her as you can stack. Now, be careful if you make her too thin on HP and defense, she will die to a sneeze. You want her to be able to take some hits, so try to keep her attack and defense, or her defense and HP up just enough so that she can take some hits. Do remember that she does get a free resurrection, so you can afford to die once, but not twice. And of course, for an artifact, she needs to be on Magic for Friends. The reason Magic for Friends is so important is Magic for Friends allows counter attacks on her that aren't technically counter attacks. This is a skill activation, which is different than a counter attack. Think like what Seaside Bologna does. It's not technically a counter, so the block counter, block dual attack debuff you're wearing is not in play here. Second fastest unit on the team and speed tuned exactly 5% behind Mercedes is going to be Robin. We've got Robin running at 184 speed, and that's because I took the 193, knocked 5% off of it, and that was about 184, 185 range, so that's the speed that I want her at. You can have her anywhere between 175 and 185 kind of speed range. Something in that range is fine. You just want to make sure that you get her to go second on the team, that she is 5% slower than your Mercedes, and that's it. Now, unlike before where I had Prophetic Candlestick on her, I've changed her over to Dux Noctis. This really ramps up her attack big time. An additional 4% attack, stack up to 6 times, at 20 was 36% more attack. Makes her so high attack she starts stealing the greater attack buff from Carrot, which is interesting. But hey, this is probably her best in slot artifact for this fight. Alternately to this artifact, you could run her own artifact. Her own artifact giving you extra burns is really, really good too. altered to that, you could still stick with Prophetic Candlestick to Psycho Skills. Any of those 3 options would work fine. Pick one and go for it. Now the percentage effectiveness you want to go for is 105. Why is it 105, you say, when everyone else is only 90? It's 105 plus 10% from having Hazel on the team, plus 5% from having Carrot on the team. That gives you 120% effectiveness exactly. And the reason for this is the boss has 120 ER. Now, normally you take the boss's ER, you subtract 15, and that's the effectiveness you want. So you only need 105, right? So why are we going all the way to 120 on Robin? Well, if you look at this first Rift controller, it has the verbiage, the final effectiveness chance will increase to 100. What the hell does that mean, Smilegate? What the hell does this mean? Does this mean for everybody on the team? Does this mean just for the Ranger in the back row? Does this mean just for the Ranger on the back row when they use their skill 2? We don't know. We don't know exactly which this applies, but what this means is normally maximum effectiveness is 85, right? You go through all of your effectiveness boosts and equations, and then if it's over 85, it flatlines it to 85. It takes that final effectiveness equation, makes it 85%, and that's what we mean by saying you get 15%. Is there is a 15% absolute resistance. There's a 15% you don't stick your debuff. No matter how high your effectiveness is, it'll normalize down to 85% maximum chance. But with this device, it makes the final 100%. So as long as you've got enough effectiveness to overcome the enemy's ER, you have 100%. So you need your effectiveness to match the boss's ER. The boss has 120 ER, and that's my long-winded explanation as to why we need 120 ER on Robin, which is this plus the 10% from Hazel plus the 5% from Carrot. Gets us the 120 ER. Whew, you guys got all that? Other than having enough ER to proc your debuffs on the boss guaranteed, which would be 105 here, 120 if you're not running Carrot or Hazel. Other than that, and speed tuning her in properly, you want the rest into attack. Don't worry about crit chance or crit damage. She doesn't do enough damage to matter. It's all into attack and a little bit of HP and defense too. Don't skimp too much on this. You just like with Mercedes, you don't want her dying to a sneeze, and unlike Mercedes, she doesn't get to come back to life, so try to keep her at the 1,000 by 10,000 range minimum to keep her alive. Having the vampirism buff from the device, from the RC15 device, will help. This will definitely help her self-heal herself, but remember, this just helps self-heal her. If she gets one shot, she's not going to be around to use the vampirism, so have a little bit of bulk on her. Third fastest unit on the team, and who used to be the fastest, is Mascot Hazel. We've got Mascot Hazel slowed down to 174 speed, and the reason for this is, as Cookie pointed out, Mercedes gives everyone an attack buff. So you can stall on Hazel using her S3 until Carrot takes a turn. She'll re-up the attack buffs on everyone else and give Carrot the greater attack buff. And it also staggers her out in such a way that at these speed ranges, it allows us to get that greater attack buff on Carrot more reliably and at the end of the fight, and keeps her from wasting turns that could potentially CR push the boss. The CR manipulation is so important in this, so this tuning works great. 174 speed, if you take my second fastest unit, knock 5% off of it, you'll be right at 174, so she's speed tuned in perfectly where she's not going to lap or cut anybody. The effect resistance is completely not necessary. That is a holdover leftover from me doing Secretary Vera. If you want to be able to have her serve the dual purpose of this and Secretary Vera, then sure, go ahead and put the ER on her, but it is not needed. It does nothing for you. Just stack health, defense, and get her speed locked in appropriately. And once again, to show that you do not need candlesticks, I went ahead and put Warhorn on her. Boost the attack of all my team, make the burn stronger. This is a really good artifact for her. You could put Card of Small Miracles. You could put you having trouble with people staying alive, put Touch of Rekos on her. You could put any form of healing artifact like Shamadra's Staff, even Rod of Amaryllis. So whatever artifact you want to put on Hazel is fine, and of course Prophetic Candlestick is also perfectly acceptable. And the final unit on our team is Carrot. And now Carrot, I know in the past we said run base speed, but you want to speed her up. You want to get her in the 140 to 150 speed range. I found 146 is perfect for me. This really helps her lap. You want to make sure she gets that extra turn at the end and does her last hit before Mascot Hazel cuts and steal some turns from her. Gives you chance for big detonation damage. And when I say big detonation damage, check out this screenshot that Cookie caught from one of his runs. I've gotten close, but I haven't cracked the 1 million mark yet, but I'm going to get there. So with Carrot, you need 90% effectiveness, because remember, that's 90% plus 10 from Hazel, plus 5 from Carrot herself. That gets us up to 105, which gives her the maximum chance to debuff. And a little bit of bulk. She's in the front taking shots to face. If you go much thinner than this, your Carrot might die. So I would make sure I wouldn't go too much lower HP and defense than 11 by 11, but you figure it out yourself. If you start to die, put some more bulk on her. And as much attack as you can get. She's going to take that greater attack buff right out of the gate. Her burns and detonations are all based on her attack, so you want to have as high attack as possible. Crit chance, crit damage, none of that matters. And that's it, guys. Make sure you have your hunt pet established. Hunt pets, the most important skills are you want to have the additional chance for a piece of equipment. This is the #1 most important skill to have on your hunt pet. The whole reason you're doing Rift is for equipment, so you make sure your Rift pet has the additional equipment. The second most important one is 20% chance for a charm. And that's it. These are the only two that are really important, because you're doing this to get gear, and then you need to level that gear. So you want the equipment and the charm. Nothing else really matters. Now, if you want to min-max and you want to chase it, until you reach RC21, the additional chance for double energy, double season score is nice. That will get you your RC levels faster. That'll save stamina on the way up. If you're just trying to push to get the battle pass done, that will save you stamina in completing your battle pass. But remember, once you get to RC21, this no longer does anything. So another option, or after you reach RC21, is the 5% chance to receive additional mats. Now, this is only a 5% chance. It means 1 in 20 runs you're going to get additional random mats. It's not a big deal. Both of those are kind of nice little add-on Me Too bonuses. Don't sweat, don't spend pushing for them. That's all you need. Let's jump into this fight and see how it goes. Robin took a big hit there. Let's just go ahead and turn on auto. All right, everybody's skills are on. Mercedes does her S3. Everybody's got an attack buff now. Robin goes with her S2, S3, whatever skill this is, but she's got attack buff. Vampirism is established. We've got 4 burns because they cannot be ignored. Hazel gives a greater attack buff to Carrot, who drops even more burns. And there we go, full bar of burns. Now we're starting to remove these authorities. Now the authorities are all gone because we got the #1 device. This skill, this S2 skill, is going to extend the debuffs, and that lets them stick around. And what's great about them sticking around is now Carrot's going to be able to detonate. Bam! 300,000 detonation damage. And why is it so low? Well, the shackles aren't ramped up yet, so just give her a chance. Give her a chance to shine. Another hit here. And we go for our S3 again, reestablishing the attack buff on everybody. Another hit. We get blue fire breathed on us. Oh, red fire. Nope, it's blue fire. Everybody's hit. Mercedes pops off. The shackles are all the way up to 5. Down to 4 now. And we get our greater attack buff reestablished and attack buff back to 2 turns on everybody. We're going to have a much more consistent leveling of attack buff on all of our units. Carrot throws more fire bombs. Boss on fire. Extending the debuffs from Robin here. $500,000 detonation on that hit. And here comes the attack buff back. Another hit. And now greater attack buff goes on. You notice this time the greater attack buff went over to Robin. The Dux Noctis has ramped her attack even higher than Carrot's by now. Everyone's on fire, but we are still swinging. Heal up. Attack. Carrot's going to throw some burns for us. More burns from Robin. Full bar of burns. Okay, we lost the attack buff, but we're just in time to have Mercedes attack buff everybody back. Robin extends the debuffs. Oh my god, it's gonna be so good. Oh, that burn. I wish I got a chance to see Carrot pop those burns. It would have been insane, but the boss was too weak to survive, and we full cleared in one entry, guys. Watch this HP bar. Zoop, all the way down. Consistent, one turn clears. We were doing this as early as RC9 at this stat level. I'm all the way up to RC12, so I'm full, one turn clearing it even faster. But if you can build to the stat line, you'll be one turn clearing as early as RC9. The weaker your gear is, the higher your RC will have to go to compensate for it. But there you go. That's your one turn clear. Now, for those of you who do not have Robin, let's go over some alternates here. If you don't have Robin, you can put Fire Aramentha in her place. It's not quite as fast, but it's close. You'll be able to be 2 turn clearing by now, and you'll be 1 turn clearing after RC15 for sure. If you do need to replace Mercedes, you can put Fire Charlotte on the team. Instead of full clearing with Fire Charlotte, I'm leaving it with about 5 to 10% HP left. I think within another 1 or 2 RCs, I can full clear with Fire Charlotte, but she is an option. If you do not have Carrot, a replacement for Carrot would once again be Aramentha to supplement your burns. If you do not have Mascot Hazel, it can be done with Tamarin. We do have confirmation that Tam can pull it off. She's nowhere near as good as Mascot Hazel, but with Mercedes supplementing the attack buffs, you can pull it off. So for those of you who have not completed Mascot Hazel or have the resources to do it yet, you can use Tamarin as a stopgap until you get there. But that gives you replacements for all the units. And of course, there are other units that you can sub in for pretty much anyone, like Fire Dingo. Units like Serilla, units like Beehoo, units like Holiday Yufine, especially after the bounce patch hits and Indestructible Gators becomes usable on her. The reason we're running Mercedes is you may have noticed in a lot of these fights, the debuff bar was full. There was no more room for more debuffs. So why put Serilla? Why put Aramentha? Why put any other debuffer in Mercedes' place when there's no more room for debuffs? Instead, we put in an AoE spammer who does significant damage and knocks up that shackle level to increase our damage, rather than wasting time throwing debuffs that can't stick because the debuff bar is full. So you want to consider that. We've got 2 major debuffers. If anything, your replacement the replacement unit to put Aramentha or Beehoo or Serilla or Holiday Yufine, those replacement units, that you replace Robin or Carrot with those, because those are your principal debuffers. The unit you would replace Mercedes with would be an AoE constant spammer like Holiday Yufine if you've got her built for a ton of damage, or Charlotte, who gets a bunch of damage as well. But Mercedes really is too good. And of course, Tamarin does work, but she's tough. Now, a lot of people are saying, why not Beehoo? Why not Beehoo with the skills off to increase the burn damage? And this is true. You do increase the burn damage by 30%, but then you have Beehoo stinking up the joint, taking turns, doing nothing but CR pushing the boss, not laying down damage, not removing the shackles, not removing the authorities, not increasing the shackles, and the 30% damage boost on the burns is not enough to make up for his presence on the team. So that's why we're not using Beehoo on the team. But use whichever units work for you, whichever units allow you to do this. Now remember, when it comes to Rift, full clear in 4 turns is roughly the same as hunts. So if you can full clear in 4 turns, it's worth doing it just to get through the battle pass, and then maybe you bag it. But if you can full clear in 3 turns, it's a little bit better than hunts as far as the amount of gear you're going to get and the gold savings. And if you can clear it in 2 turns, it is significantly better than hunts as far as the quality and quantity of gear per stamina you're going to get. And you get up to this point now where you can full clear it in 1 turn, it is just significantly, nearly 3 times better than hunts. I'm pulling a number out of my ass. I've not mathed it out, but it's probably at least 3 times better than hunts for getting gear. Now remember, hunts also give you better reforge mats, because hunts do have the random chance to drop 50 reforge mats, and they're reforge mats that are in the specific discipline you're looking for. And hunts also have that ever so rare chance to drop things like mystics and bookmarks, which are important to free-to-play players. So this isn't a full replacement for hunts. It's just where you go if gear is what you're looking for. If you're looking for those other things, then sure, hunts may be better for you. If you've got 10,000 leafs and you're trying to burn through them during a buff event, you could probably do 10 hunts for every 2 runs of Rift. So you'll be able to, get more gear per hour from hunts. But when you're talking about gear per stamina and the quality of gear and the fact that it saves you gold, you want to farm Rift. And by saving gold, I mean with Rift, you just get the gear. No fuss, no muss, no gold expense. Here's your gear. Keep it or sell it. With hunts, you get half of the gear. The other half of the gear is given to you in crafting mats, and then you have to go to the steel workshop and craft those crafting mats, and that costs millions of gold just to craft the gear. So that's what we mean when we say Rift is a gold positive event. You don't have to spend any gold to get the gear, unlike hunts where you have to spend the gold to craft the gear. So that's another reason why I like Rift, why I think it's a better place to farm gold-wise and gear-wise. But crafting mats and those esoteric drops for bookmarks and mystics, that can shift the focus for other people. Remember, guys, there is no best place to farm in Epic 7 except the place that satisfies the resources you need. This is a game of resource management, and you want to make sure you manage those resources. Just like in life, focus on the biggest return on investment. If you're out of gold, you go farm Adventures and Eulogy. If you need gear, you farm Rift. If you need reforge mats, you go after hunts. You figure out what you need, and if you have questions about that, check the link in the description of this video for what, in my opinion, is my most important guide ever, the best places to farm 2025 in Epic 7, and that will help you figure out where to focus your farming based on your current needs, your current roadblock. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you with that solo team at RC15. Have a good one, everybody.